Good afternoon.
Hi, everybody.
What is it?
Stat time.
There you go. And today is Wednesday, the 9th of July.
Yes.
Hopefully everyone's having a great summer because just like the weather, and I thought maybe things would.
Sorry, I'm getting poked.
Yes, we have these little. This tree is always one of those.
Yeah.
One of those albatrosses.
It's something we like, though.
Yes,
so.
it is. It is. My wife spends a lot of time picking that tree out. But what we're going to be talking about is the stats locally, and that is a big deal because last month we saw some things that were a little puzzling and troubling, and I think that we're going to address some of those things today, right, Carrie?
Yes, we are.
And we're going to run down a lot of the data, like as far as like where the amount of houses sold, which is still anemic, so we'll get to that right quickly. So things like the market is definitely consolidated, which is an interesting part of what we've been dealing with almost for about 3 years now, which is a consolidated market. So while the volumes of sales are pretty low, prices still remain very high, but the market is definitely smaller. So we're moving in a smaller market. You know, buying and selling of a house only reflects less people doing it. So that's one of the interesting things about this market that's changed from every other market that I've dealt with in the past, 20 years. So it really is an interesting time. But I think if I go to, I'm going to pull this up on here because I hate to watch myself. Yes. Carrie likes to read the comments. So please, if you're on TikTok, leave your comments. Because I know how Carrie's just really enamored by TikTok comments.
Yeah.
So just leave them.
Yeah.
So if you have any questions for her, I'm sure you're not going to have
any. Let me know.
But let us know. But anyway, let's get down to the numbers because this is these numbers just keep bouncing around month to month, week to week, and there's no really steady course here. When you think it's about to maybe go in the other direction, you get numbers like this, which puts everything seemingly back on track, because that's what it looks like from my initial observation. But I like to do these things kind of freewheeling. So Carrie kind of prints the stats like a couple of hours before. And I like to kind of like just get it to you raw.
Yeah, without you get his reaction.
Because you get the reaction. And we always need a reaction. Someone's leaving us a bunch of likes. Thank you for the likes, guys. That's very kind of you. Someone just tapping it out. I don't know who that is, but
thank you.
Keep them likes going, baby. So let's get into the numbers, Carrie. You have a bunch of them that we want to go over. So let's get down to business. Let's get down to business.
Let's get down.
There you go.
Yeah.
So let's get down to business.
Yes. So the average days on the market have dropped year to year 8.45%, and has decreased month over month 14%. So it's down to 65 days now.
So average days on the market is back down again. Now this is something that's steadily increased month over month for the last maybe the last 3.5 months, and which is another leap in the opposite direction. So it's kind of, this is just one of those things. It's just really getting a beat on this market, because we had like 3 consecutive months where this was consistently jumping, right? We're seeing the days on the market keep moving higher month after month. And I was like, okay, maybe something signaling that things may be slowing down a little bit. Days on the market are down again, like you said, almost 8.5%.
Almost, yeah.
So it's like 8.5% drop in the days on the market is a sign that For the most part, sellers who are priced correctly are in the. There's a segment of doing this business that people tend to overinflate the value of
Mm.
things. There's been a few good TikToks on it. I've been watching them because it's like people are asking unprecedented amounts for the house, thinking, well, if the market's hot, I can ask for anything. Sure, you can, but like essentially, you buy your house back because you're the only one who's able to. The funny thing is, and just to get before you get into the next
Mhm.
question, is I've always often asked people, well, would you buy your own house at the price you set it at?
Mm. So
I
good.
wouldn't even tell you what the answer is. And
Question.
that's the real. So like, okay, and it silences the room a bit because I've done this because it's like a little bit of reverse
Yeah.
psychology. It's like, well, let's put you in the bias. Like sometimes a seller will haggle a little bit over not getting enough. I said, well, I want you to put yourself. I said, would you pay that for this house? And they'll just everybody will stay quiet. Of course, some people are just that they're that entrenched that. But usually it causes people to pause, and once you get the pause, you know you've touched a little bit of a nerve.
Mhm.
But that's where it's at as far as people's asking prices, and so the sellable market selling quickly. The unsellable market never makes this page.
Mhm.
So that's just the funny thing about stats is that there's still a lot of things that often don't sell. I'm not saying there's a lot of expires, but the ones that do, it's like you have to be pretty overpriced. And if you haven't gained, well, I mean, there's a few things that play into that. I think some of the stuff that is for some types of houses, how the house is presented to the public makes a big difference. But that's a topic for another day. So let's get on to the stats, Kerry. I don't want to keep you sitting
You're
listening to me for
okay.
too long
It's okay.
because I have a big soapbox here. You know, when I get up on
Soapbox.
my, yeah, I know this is like I think today I must have went over like three old school like sayings.
Yeah.
What was the other one I said to you today?
Uh,
What was that other one? And you're like, oh, the Boondocks.
yes.
She's never
Boondocks.
heard of Boondocks. I'm
No.
like,
I
you've
was
never
like,
heard of the
what?
Boondocks?
I thought it was like a radio or something.
So it's a radio. The Boondocks is a radio. So I said, what's Boondocks mean? But anyway, we're getting off topic. Go with the next question because I just it's great having someone with like a generation beneath you, maybe two. It's just
Yeah.
like you just say these things. It's like, okay, well, you know about this, and they're like, no. It's like when I asked my son about like he saw a payphone. He's
Oh
like,
my god.
he's
I know
like,
what a payphone
yeah, I
is.
know. Well, he don't. Because what is that? Oh, that's a payphone. That's what I used to call your mom
Oh my god,
on.
that's so funny. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's one. Oh
There's
gosh.
no more in like New York in the city anymore, right? Or is there? I haven't seen.
I met somebody who has a payphone in their house. They
Oh,
they took
that's
it. And it's
kind of
like on the
cool.
house.
Yeah, that's
But
cool.
do you have a regular phone in your house?
Yeah,
You still keep one, right?
yeah. Just for
Emergencies.
no, it comes with the plan.
It's all part of the plan. Anyway, let's get to the next stat. I said that like three times. We never get there.
So the month's inventory has decreased year over year 12% and month over month 9%.
Okay. So the month's inventory again is on the decrease. Obviously, with average days on the market, a year-over-year difference of 12%. That's pretty significant. That's a significant drop in months inventory. So again, the inventory crunch is coming back. There is
Mm-hmm.
no relief for buyers. I could get into more details about why this is happening, which is not subject to what we're discussing here. But um, a lot of what's happening here is like these like kind of like these hit fits and starts. It's a weird economy. So like very volatile movement in the economy just as a general. because of inflation and the way things are moving. And a lot of this has to do with this. But the 12% drop is a significant drop in the month's inventory, meaning that there's less choice now than there was both a year ago and this month. So comparing month last year to this year, so that's significant drop. Even it's 12% on the year. So that's another interesting. This doesn't even make any sense. But go ahead.
The sale list price ratio has increased 0.73%, but decreased. That was year over year.
Yeah.
But decreased month over month.
1/10.
Yeah, 1/10.
Yes, 1/10. Whatever he said. Yeah, that's the ropes. So this is 96.9 isn't fantastic. And this is where, I mean, like, people who are out there bidding, I'm not very, like, we do New Jersey stats and they're coming up around 100. Sale to list price ratio is not great here. So I think that personally, it's showing that people are listing their prices higher, but there is flexibility in what they're taking. And we've kind of seen this a lot. 96.9 is at 1/10 to 1% less, but that's a pretty good discount on the sale list price ratio. So the people who are out there are attempting to make bids on prices that are a bit higher, but it's showing some willingness on the part of the seller that they're really willing to negotiate something there. So when it comes to buying in this environment, sometimes it's worth giving it a shot and seeing exactly how it turns up. So some people will just dismiss things out of hand. And with the low inventory market, sometimes you'll find some pretty good flexibility. And you got to remember, this is of the houses that do sell. But where it really stands, that's a kind of muddied number a little bit, because you'll get some people who will literally bid 10% and get 9% discount, and you'll still get over list price offers. So it's not a great stat for this, because I mean, for most of the reporting right now, because I just think the volumes are too low to really make a really substantial call on, like, people giving discounts to the degree that you take this information and say, oh, well, it's 96%, and that means it's no. Do not take this to the bank, because what happens is when you have low statistical data, you get anomalies. So, like, you can get 5 houses that sell at 101% of list, and you get 2 that sell 10% below list. Not typically something that I would say you would say, like, okay, there's a data point that, like, you'd say, yeah, I can make a lower bid. It's the data is too narrow to make that suggestion here. So I wouldn't hold that too high a regard, that number. Get to the next thing, which is
sold medium listing. So that has increased year over year.
This is interesting.
50%, and month over month it has increased. I messed up before.
You did?
Yeah. So the sold medium listing has increased year over year 4.50%, and month over month has increased 10.60%. So almost 11.
So 4.5 to almost 10.5. So the month over month difference. So this is the sold median sale price, meaning, like, where, like, medians are happening, when, like, what was the kind of like the list price area. And as we see these numbers come up, again, the median is a pretty good indicator that people are buying higher and higher. And that number was coming down. So kind of give you a little snippet here. In May, it was at 650,000. In June, it jumped to 718, meaning people who have a good pile of cash in the back of the closet came out with the came out with the bid. And coming up with 718,000 for the sold median listing it's significant. Meaning that I do think this is a weird market, boy. That's something just a 10% jump in a month over month. That's you.
Yeah, it's a.
You sure you're putting these numbers in right?
Yeah, I triple check.
Triple check. Triple check against the artificial intelligence. Yeah, that's significant. So, and it's funny because we were just talking about it last month that I think the headline on thing was like, "Oh, things are changing." Nope, they're not based on this. These are a little bit past indicators. We'll get into some of the leading ones, which is the next one's a little bit more of a tell. So because it's the pending side, but give them the number on the pending.
So pending has increased year over year almost 8%, but decreased month over month 0.8%.
Yeah. So the month over month increase, the pending. So this is like the stuff that's in contract. So this is more of a leading indicator, like what's going to be happening over the next month or two. So when we look at that from that perspective, basically what we're going to be doing is, say in the next 2 to 3 months, this is what the market probably will look like. And that's why I like pending, because it's like what's in contract currently. And in New York, if you're in New Jersey, sometimes that's 30 to 45 days. In New Jersey, here it's you have one deal that's almost 6 months old. So like yeah, that's just crazy. But you're basically looking at what the snapshot of what's coming in the next reports here. It's the month over month difference is not too bad. The year over year difference of the pending, that means the stuff that's in pending is definitely higher than the stuff that was pending last year at the time. It went from 707,000 in June of 2024 to 762,000, the pending average listing. Now, again, when we use the averages, these are low data samples. We don't have the sold median listing. I mean, we don't have the pending median listing.
No.
Yeah, that's not in here, but we'll probably get a little bit more on that. But the median, I hate using averages because the data is just sometimes it's a little weak. When you have crappy sales numbers like these. You don't really see these numbers this low. Like people say it's great, it's a great market. It's really not. These numbers are just historic. I've been doing this for a long time. These numbers are not. It wouldn't take much for like this market to like go in reverse. And that's why, guys, you have to be on top of these things because these volumes are not great. And it doesn't take much to kind of like tip the market in one direction or another if there's an increase in inventory. It's just these numbers are just, whoosh.
Yeah,
They're bad. I mean, from the amount of sales is not what I consider healthy levels. But anyway, get to the next thing. The next thing. Get to the next thing, Carrie.
Okay. The sold average listing is at year over year has increased 5% and month over month 4%.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost 6%. Yeah,
sold average.
Yeah, the sold average from 7-Eleven last June to 752,951 to be exact this year. So to 700, let's say 750 rounded out from 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven. That's my favorite place for coffee. Anyway.
And their slushies.
That's yeah. I can't eat that. I can't have a slushie. That's too much sugar. But anyway.
That was sold average sale. that you were just talking about?
Yes.
The sold average listing.
Oh, the sold average listing.
Yes.
My apologies.
It's okay.
The sold average listing. Sold average listing 780,000. So the numbers just keep creeping up. Year over year is up 5%. So 5%. It's gone that direction for the most part. The line looks like this, and I'm going to tell you now that we're kind of like in the moment. The last report reflected, and I've said this before, the fear that was placed into the market when the stock market came down. Everybody remember when the whole tariff thing was going on a little crazy a bit? The whole market kind of like took a pause or a breath, and it showed up in the numbers we did last month. I said that we needed to see how that would play out this month.
Yeah.
I said, these stats really have to coincide with that little dip. There's a lot of motion tied to stocks and the markets. I said, what's that little dip? Like confidence was shaken, and it showed up in the numbers. And even like sellers panicked and buyers panicked. Everybody panicked. Like, oh, this is the end. When is it coming? There's a couple of good people on YouTube who actually do some analysis on this. Who said that this ain't ever going down, and I believe them now. I thought I've done these reports over the last 3 years, and I've made some idea. There are places where it will go down. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's going to be very, because of the volumes. I don't care what they say. Like a lot of houses in Florida for sale. Regionally, you're going to have more shifts than you will, depending on the overall like demographics of what's going on for that particular town. So Florida isn't doing great. Yes, that's true. And to be honest with you, even I did some reports on Manhattan. Manhattan hasn't really done that great over the last year. And they were down a couple of places. Brooklyn hasn't done great. New Jersey is an anomaly so like it's still pacing higher in certain counties, but once you go into Ocean County, the market changes. So we kind of seen this happen, and it's just the structure of the market's disjointed. So I hate to say like these reports could be too general. It could even depend on the neighborhood. That's how volumes have really just played havoc with just trying to read data and getting a real bead on what's going on. So a lot of people want to know what's going on with their house, and they use very broad range data to make a suggestion. It's not the case here. I don't think that's the case here. There's a grifter in there. I don't know. There's a grifter badge? TikTok.
Oh, gifter?
Gifter? Grifter? Grifter? Is it a gifter?
Gifter, yeah. A grifter.
There's plenty of grifters on TikTok too.
Yeah.
Just kidding, like, TikTok people.
Yeah.
We're on just so you know, we're looking at 3 screens at the same time. YouTube on one, Facebook in the middle, TikTok on the right.
Yeah.
It's like we have these screens and all
so
in front
many,
of us.
Yeah.
So you get every angle, even if it's bad. So let's go to the next thing.
The new average listing. So the new average listing has increased year over year 5%, but decreased month over month 30%. I mean, 0.30%.
Yeah, if it was 30%, it would be really insane, but it's not.
0.30.
Yeah, 0.37. Yeah. So new average listing, it falls in line with everything else. Nothing notable there except for the year over year difference. People are bringing up their prices, and it's reflected in the rest of the report. So there's nothing notable there. So we'll spare you. We'll spare you all the details. I get so many texts while I'm doing these things that like it's so distracting.
Yeah.
I need like one cam to do all these things because that phone is just. I'm
Yeah, it
reading
keeps
text.
going off.
And it's
Yeah.
quiet for many hours, and then all of a sudden everybody just is.
It's
It is
all
a
at
weird
one
thing. Is
time
like people always text like it's
at
not
the
like
same time.
it's like a group text and like for me anyway.
Yeah.
It'll be quiet for like 2 or 3 hours. You won't hear a word, and then
And then
everybody will text at the same time.
yeah.
It's like that's just the way it goes. Um, I don't want to read these comments, but anyway, next thing, Kerry. I laugh at you.
Yeah,
You can't even see it. Don't
I
even.
can't see it.
Yeah. Someone said to stop pulling on your skirt at the knee.
Oh, sorry.
You're annoying them.
Oh, sorry.
Oh no, you're not. We did that once where it says invite the person in, and it was one of the weirdest things ever.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
Thank you for doing it. At least I don't have to tell her. At least I don't have to tell her to stop. Her hands can't stop moving.
I always have to be touching something.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Anyway, go to the next thing, please.
All right. So the next one is the sold average sale, which you kind of
It
got
says
into.
add effects using hand gestures. What is this?
Oh.
So we could add effects, just things.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, but the only problem is I can't even see my face anymore. It says exit out, but I'm like standing too far away. Is there like a way to like, if I do this, does it cut the? Oh my goodness! Now I can't even see it.
Is it gonna go dark?
No, it's not.
Are we paused?
Oh, look at that! Go. Let me see. I hope it didn't pause us. Like it.
It did.
You know, Facebook. Come on.
All right. I don't know.
Oh, we're back.
I don't know if it paused
Sorry.
us or whatever.
This is one of those broadcasts. It was going so well, and then it just shut off because they gave us a message to say we could use hand gestures now to signal out our.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, let's get to the next thing. You guys.
Crazy. So
and just so you know, if you hear comments, there's streams on different platforms.
Yes.
So, you know, we get the more vocal side is definitely the one on the top right. TikTok, they like that.
They like to make comments.
Yes.
Clearly.
Very clearly.
So the sold average sale you kind of got into before, but that has increased almost 6% year over year and increased month over month 4%.
Yeah, nothing new. 4%, almost 6% year over year. So, I mean, I thought was maybe gonna flip from based on last month's data. That's not the case. They continue their ascent. Sold average, the sold medians really just kicked up. I mean, this is, I don't know. Sheesh. Sold median sale. Let's just go. Let's go to sold median because I think I like doing medians better.
Yeah.
The sold median, and I'll take this part, is up 10%. So this medians are better with these low data numbers. So 10% month over month difference on the sold median sale price, which is now up around $715,000. That's insanity.
Yeah.
10% month over month. That shows you, well, you know, that's because we kind of saw a little bit of a dip last month, and I think that's something that wasn't expected. So it was a quick dip, and much like the stock market's at record highs, they all coincide. Usually when the stocks are going up, the record highs, when you have record high stock market, real estate prices basically reflect that. I mean, go historically through time. And this is why people who are waiting on the sidelines, they negotiate. We do a lot of negotiations, especially with buyers. They'll pass on something, guys. Yep. I've seen some really ridiculous negotiations. like at 10,000 or like 5,000, even $2,500. These types of sword matches are ridiculous, and like when you're paying these kinds of numbers, and you look at everything that we've looked at and been told the stats a million times, you're not getting a discount next year. And you're paying more. It's like, settle up on what you're willing to do. And if you come up with a number decent enough, be the buyer doesn't have the advantage in most cases. Forget about it. I mean, that's usually people want to price a little bit on the higher side, but they have to be a little bit more flexible price. So there'll be a little, and I remind sellers this too, like, don't you push the envelope too far. I mean, where you're at, you should be pretty darn lucky. So don't push the envelope. It's not worth it, because this market's so like petty, like, because it's not a volume market. So you're not going to get a million showings at your house anymore, unless obviously something has to do with a phone call. It just doesn't stop.
It doesn't.
Like ever since I sit in this, we haven't even been here for what? Maybe not even 30 minutes.
Yeah, you just.
It's just, come on. Admittedly, I need the people who call me to watch more often. Maybe they figure out where I'm going or where I'm at.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't going to do that. I mean, I just responded to something. If you're watching, I respond right here. Anyway, let's get on to that's the sold medium. Let's get into the active listings. Skip over the new listings, because that's just not it. It's a waste of time.
So the active listings have decreased year over year almost 7%, but increased month over month 6%.
This is kind of run contrary to the rest of the country. Basically, the active listings being down year over year is not everywhere except for here. It's gone up. And that's really the anomaly of the report, is that, and I thought like things were going to go the other direction, even though May 970 listings in May is absolutely astonishingly bad for a buyer. There's no choice. Just to give it, we've done these reports, and not everybody obviously watches, but when I started in real estate, it was 900 houses on the market in May. In May of like 2007, 2008, when I kind of like 2000, that was like the peak when I was around back then. It was close to 4,000.
Wow.
4,000 to, like, we're talking about like 1/4 of the inventory. And then when people say, like, I mean, you watch a lot of doomsdayers, the doom scrollers on like YouTube, and you say historically speaking, like, oh yeah, the inventory picked up 100%. Even at 100% more inventory is still half of what it was in 2008. And it's like, you're not, but with the volumes we're talking about, when we talk about the sold listings, which we're going to get to, this another data point that's a little interesting here, but that's coming up, because we're going to skip over the new listings. It's not important. We're just going to go to pendings. But guys, it's not really the pick of the litter out there. I don't think that's not going to change. I'm really firmly in the camp, and I can get into a little bit of that when we close this out, why I think this is happening. But let's get to we got to the active listings, which are up on the month over month, but down 6%. So this is a little bit of a leading indicator showing just a tad bit of softening here. There's other comments. Oh no, yeah. You're gonna love these comments. I'm gonna make sure you don't see them when you're finished.
Oh no, I'm scared. Yeah, so the pending listings.
I get her off her game when she worries about comments. She loses track of her thoughts.
I do. The pending listings, they have decreased almost 8%
Mhm.
year over year, but has increased 2% month over month.
So pending listings are like a precursor for the next 3 months. Seasonally, the year over year difference, seasonally, we're okay. The year over year difference is kind of interesting, down a whole 8% of pending listings, because it's not something you like to see on a year over year basis. Meaning that this market is it's contracting further. Not to say that it's getting worse, but meaning that because there's pending and there's even less inventory, the market just continues to contract, at least locally.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning that, because we're going to get to the next stat, which is mind blowing, even though there was more sold, it's not even worth mentioning when you have these low sales numbers.
Yeah.
A 6% increase, which is, we'll touch on in a second, is nothing. But pending, down 7%. So it was, just to give you an idea what it was in June 2024, it was 276. It's down to 254 on the June, as of June 2025. So that's year over year. It's a little bit of a dip, but it's not really affecting the market to the degree that anybody should be too concerned with, because when we talk about these low numbers, it could skew quite a bit. A small decrease of 15 houses can make a 7% discount, which is basically what this is. Not even. So it's not really a tell there. But if it was a progression that you'd see maybe over a span of 3 or 4 months, I would say yes. You'd definitely be a little bit more concerned that maybe things are softening up. But let's get into the final thing, which is
sold listings.
Yeah.
So that has increased year over year 6% and month over month 17%.
There ain't gonna be anybody crying happy tears on a 6% increase on the year over year. We went from 225 sales to 239 sales, which is historically, these averages around 2,000. This is around so the amount of sales are so low that it really matches what we were talking about in the financial crisis on Staten Island. So for Staten Island to see 200, we're talking about numbers. If anybody's old enough to remember what the Mendoza line was, it's like if you're batting under 220, you have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. But there are people who would know I'm talking about. So 220 was like the number. And I used to talk about it because I used to do blogs all the time back then. I used to use the 220 as like the Mendoza line, which is that's a story unto itself where that came up from. It's an old baseball term.
Oh, okay.
So if they hit like under 220 was like the percentage. They hitting 22. They got to hit about 20% of so for every 10 at bats they get 2 hits. Anyway,
I don't get baseball.
That's a dumb thing. You probably figure it out. But so a whopping 8% there. An increase of 6% on the year over year. Not notable. It is notable on the month over month. 17% is quite a bit on the month over month, but I think that's reflective of the dip we talked about. We talked about it in the last report, which now, if you really want to go look back and hold me accountable to my words, you can go back onto YouTube now, which this is streaming, right? This is going to be on streaming.
Yes.
She's just, whoever's typing there and putting something in, she's really eager to like read that comment. That's why if you see her lurch toward the screen, it means she's really trying to get a good like dial in on what you're writing.
Yes.
Don't worry, it's another grifter badge.
Oh, okay. Grifter.
I don't know. Come on, it's TikTok. It is a grifter badge. We have a lot of grifters. But the market itself, to kind of wrap this all up and give you like a whole, to put all the donuts in the box.
Yes. Oh, another.
So there's a term you definitely get.
I get that. Yes. With the soap one, I didn't get.
To put all the donuts in a box. Basically, what we're saying here is all the little tariff nonsense that kind of took the market down maybe a notch or two back last month, that showed up in last month's data, has been washed away. That's basically what this, to sum this report up in like just a sentence, which is not something I come across easily. I'm just too long-winded. Sometimes watch myself is almost like,
okay.
It's like, Anthony, just shut up. And you over-explain everything to the point where it's like, stop. So here I am stopping. Basically, whatever happened last month, throw out the window. This month, go look at the stock market. You'll understand what's happening in real estate. But I want to caution people, and this is a caution. I've done so many cautionary tales, hot, cold, bad. There's a market for everything. A market for everything is that the market still sets the bar for whatever's happening. So if you think prices are too high, or you think it's too low, or you think you're not getting enough, the market sets the bar, provided everything else is going right. If you're not meeting the market, and I get this too many times, like there's a lot of people out there, I mean, the TikToks and the Instagram stuff about like people putting the houses at ridiculous prices. You're damaging yourself. If you really want that kind of money, don't. It's just not worth what you're going to lose in terms of time, and and like it's just what damage you're going to do anyway if you just put things too high. You let them sit there, and it's like, oh, nothing's happening. Let me blame the real estate agent type of scenario, which I've seen on TikTok. It's like, how come I'm not getting $1.5 million for your house? Because your house, yes, go to the store, and would you buy the milk when all the rest of the milk on the shelf says, what is it, $4 now? I don't even know. $4 now, and you want, and you want to leave your milk carton at $6 on the floor when everything else is $4. Yeah, maybe there's some intrinsic details about your specific house or anomaly that makes it, considerably more. And there are cases where that happens locationally if there's something specific, but a lot of times it's not, or it's not significant enough to like, shake the trees, like in terms of value. So if someone says to you, well, there's no activity, check on the marketing, of course, because I think that's a big part of it. I will not. I'm telling you now, based on everything I do, if we don't get like more than like 10,000 views for a property or more than that, and the house isn't moving, it's not. That sets the bar for most standards, Zillow, everybody. If you're not getting anything, it's over. Don't question what I'm doing, because I'm not gonna even. That's on you. That's on the person selling. Your price isn't setting the expectation at that point. It's not marketable amongst what's there, and it's been there long enough to say, And I hate to say this, not to be blunt, but you have to be realistic to the degree that people will make offers. You're going to say it's too low. The market sets the bar, and you have to listen to the market. What's in your head doesn't matter. And, sure, you won't sell. And I heard that. I'm never in a hurry to sell. But I haven't heard that like 6 million. I have a book. I'm not in a hurry to sell. That's why we're here. Nobody's in a hurry to sell, of course. If you want to, some people say, well, I want to try my luck. That's not. And there's some agents that will ride that coattail with you because there's nothing else to do. So they ride their luck with you, but chances are the luck probably on some factors, playing roulette's a little bit better, a gamble. If you look at odds of getting certain prices than what people kind of expect. So you have to be realistic about what's going on. And, you know, if there's enough distribution out there and the marketing is really, first class, and you could say, someone could point you to everything, where everything's directed, and you could see it from a whole bunch of standpoints, blaming somebody for where things are happening, whether it's bad or good. In some places, sometimes the market's not going in the right direction. We had one that was very challenging because it just so happened 5 people put up their house in the same block.
Really?
So when you say the market's local, like literally every other house just on that block, which is enough to change the whole market dynamic for that block. And that's how much the market is kind of like could move with these volumes. There's a difference. There's 5 houses on the block. Maybe they're a little bit different, but first of all, it's not something buyers want to see. So, if there's, God help me if there's a realtor who doesn't put a sign. Right, you need the sign that's going to help. Yeah, I there's probably people who will shoot me for saying that, but
No.
if you have three houses in a row and there's and everybody has a for sale sign, not a good sign. It's not a good sign for that many signs. It's a sign. So there's a lot of signs with signs, and you don't want to be the person that's sitting there holding the bag. It's like they think it's like what musical chairs.
Oh. Yes.
They figure by the time they get to theirs, there'll be 2 people for 1 seat. My goodness. Anyway, that's what we have, guys.
Yes.
And I got to get back to the million or so texts, phone calls, and whatever else came in during this time. And, I got to encourage the people who know me best to watch. And they'll know that I'm focused on this right now, and I will get to them when I'm done. And just be patient. That's my next meeting. If you're not watching what we're doing, then, and you're of course saying, how come you're not picking up your phone?
We're doing a lot.
Isn't it? It's like kind of how like you are with your boyfriend. If you don't pick up the phone, you got to text him 3 times. Why aren't you picking up? No. I'm gonna bother you a little bit. She's the easiest thing to do with Carrie is make her red.
I know. I turn red. It's noticeable.
It's so easy to do. That's like it's almost like a challenge. The Make Carrie Red challenge.
Oh God. That'll be easy.
But anyway, that's what we have.
Yes.
And we'll see you. I think tomorrow we're gonna do New Jersey. I think so. I think there was some. I don't know. We might be back tomorrow, or at the end of the month for Jersey.
Yeah.
One or the other. We'll see you likely tomorrow.
Yes.
All right. Have a great night, everyone.
Bye.
Leave your comments, suggestions, and go to YouTube. We're blowing up there.
Yes.
We have a lot of stuff that's interesting, and it's going to get more interesting, I promise.
Go check us out.
We have some big news. That's big news coming in that direction, too.
Oh, yeah.
Big news in the next few months.
Keep watching.
Keep watching. Ciao.
Bye, guys.